Dan, you're playing against a Premier League team tomorrow, but we don't even know which team it is. We're not allowed to see.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about it?
I can tell you it's top secret. I'm not allowed to say anything either. I've just been briefed that can't say anything either. So you're not going to get anything from me. Closed book. Should be a tough test. I think obviously there's any Premier League team you play against is going to be a tough test, but the team we're playing against will certainly offer us a great workout in terms of our fitness and the way we work on and off the ball. So it should be a good exercise for us.
Is this team eligible for the Champions League?
I told you can dig, but I'm not going to let anything away. Every team in the Premier League is eligible for the Champions League in the forthcoming year because no place has been decided yet.
Okay, how excited are you about that, and how do you feel it's going to be as a challenge for you, especially as a keeper?
I think every game is a challenge. I think no matter what Premier League opposition you play against, like I said, it's always going to be a challenge. I look forward to it the same that I look forward to every game. It's the bread and butter of football is playing games, and none more so than the league. But obviously pre-season is there to get you focused and ready for the bread and butter of the Football League and the Championship, which is that's the main thing that we're focusing on this year. So these games obviously offer a slightly different challenge in terms of the quality of play that we're playing against and going and playing at other people's training grounds and that kind of thing. So it's certainly one that I'm looking forward to. I look forward to every game, and tomorrow's no different.
Talk us through some of the things you've been doing in pre-season training. Just kind of give us a flavour of it.
Being tired a lot is certainly one that I'll have to put up there. With a new goalkeeper coach that we've got in, he's been really working us to the point where there's been days where I've woken up and not wanted to move, but that's all part and parcel of pre-season. You have to get through that for the long endurance that you have in terms of the championship season that's forthcoming. So obviously we know we're going to work hard. We know that pre-season is a long slog and it's tough. But in terms of what we've been doing, it's been very, very explosive, very sharp, a lot of repetition. Obviously for goalkeepers you want to see a ball, we want to save shots, we want to make all manner of saves, and we'll certainly be doing all kinds of things that's going to gear us up for the Championship season.
Simon Royce was 8 years with the club, and clearly you build up quite a close relationship with the goalkeeping coach because there's so few of you. How difficult is it to move on from one coach's sort of philosophy and analysis to a new one?
I would say it's difficult, but I think as professionals and as goalkeepers especially, where it's such a specialised position, I think it's about adapting to each scenario. I had a huge amount of admiration and respect for Simon Royce for what he achieved prior to my arrival and what he got out of me that wasn't necessarily present when I first joined. The improvements I made were certainly ones that I could notice personally. So I'm very grateful for him to the job that he did, and to hear that he wasn't going to be remaining at Brentford was a little bit of a blow. But at the same time, I knew that somebody else would come in with different philosophies that could improve me in slightly different ways. So it's more of a new project, if you like, from the goalkeeping side, that we've now got somebody with, like you say, slightly different philosophies, slightly different ways of working and different ways of analysing things. But Iñaki is very, very meticulous. We're always looking at things in very great depth in terms of our positioning, whether it be our technique, whether it be tactical side of the game. We've brushed on the mental side of the game as well, but it's something that's something that we have to do every day in terms of it's not really easy to do on a video as such, but the other three aspects are certainly something that we've been in great detail about on the trip that we've had and prior and since then as well.
There's been another few departures from the club recently with Florian this morning, but also your captain. And with him standing in front of you and protecting you on the pitch, how difficult will that be for you to cope with? How much of a loss will that be?
Eagles was a great player. Same with Flo, both very good players, both players that played an awful lot of games for Brentford in the last couple of years. So of course, I think any player leaving that has played a major part is obviously going to be a little bit of a blow. We had it last year with Maxime, Hotter and Harley, but like I said, with the thing with Summer Royce going into Iñaki, as professionals we have to adapt and make sure that we don't dwell on those things that perhaps may have gone against us, or perhaps maybe not the most positives of things, if you like, that we have to turn them into positives. And we've got, Chris Mepham that's obviously stepped up to the plate last year in that position. Ezri Konsa's come in that position. If you're talking about Florian, we've got Saeed Benrahma that's come in that position. So it's not like we're down to bare bones as such, as obviously we've lost two great quality players, but we've also got a bed in the players that are there to replace those players as well, and make sure that we bring them into the group and that they're ready to seamlessly fit into the roles that have been left.
You know how tough the Championship is. It's such a tough league, and missing out in the playoffs last season. Has Dean already spoken about ambitions for this season, or what are his aims?
We want to get promoted. We're a club that's ambitious, and a team and staff for all across the board, from the guys that stand behind you here all the way up to the owners, the chefs, the players, the B team. Everybody is on the same page. Everybody wants the same thing. We're all ambitious. We're all very driven, dedicated professionals that want to go and take this club on to the next level. We all want to play in the Premier League. We all want to, get out of this division for the right reasons. And I think we all know that with the quality of squad we've got, obviously, like you said, of course, it's a very difficult league. It's ruthless at times, and that's what we've got to bear in mind. But at the same time, we do have to appreciate the fact that we have got a good squad. And last year, you look back in hindsight, which is a wonderful thing. But if we'd have taken 6 points here or there over the course of the season, you're all of a sudden you're in the lottery of the playoffs, and we back ourselves against anybody on any given day. So I think this year the aim is to get promoted. We'll quietly go about our business. I'm sure the focus will be on the big teams, if you will, that have come down, and the ones with the biggest budgets and that kind of thing. But we're happy for the focus to be on them, and we'll go about our business quietly and professionally.
Just finally, Thibaut Courtois won the Golden Glove at the World Cup, but you beat him to the London Football Awards.
Yeah.
Has your agent been on the phone to Gareth Southgate to let him know about it?
No, I'm aware of, no. Obviously that's a nice little thing that obviously he's gone and had a great World Cup, won the Golden Glove, and like I said, back when the award was around, I have great admiration and respect for all of my competitors back in, who was against me, the other nominees back in the London Football Awards. But obviously that's a special one, to win the Golden Glove at a World Cup. I don't think there's much more of a single personal accolade a goalkeeper can win. So no, I'll take my one up that I've got on him, but obviously full respect for him to win that as well.
How proud were you watching Pickford though throughout the tournament as a fellow Englishman?
He did great. Obviously a goalkeeper that's come from being on loans in the Football League and played one season in the Premier League, and all of a sudden, with no tournament experience, is playing extremely well in a World Cup. So that for me is impetus for me and motivation for me to go and do exactly the same. Because I think if you'd have said to him 18 months ago you're going to play every game in the World Cup and be one of the standout performers in the England squad, I don't think he would have believed you. Or maybe he would because of his confidence, but I don't think that would have been a realistic aim at the time. But obviously things change very, very quickly in football, and he's done very well to get himself where he's got to, and I'm sure he's extremely proud.
Do you not count down to when pre-season starts? You try and ignore the date that is in the diary when pre-season starts, because that's when the hard work's going to really begin?
I think the minute the last game against Hull finished, I was counting down to when we're coming back. Not always for the right reasons, because obviously we all have a rest, and after a long 10 months of a season, especially a championship season in which it is difficult, there are ups and downs and the body takes an absolute pounding. You obviously want to get away, lay on the beach and not move for 6 weeks. But me personally, I've always got one eye on when we're coming back and making sure that obviously I enjoy myself, but not too much. Not too much alcohol, not too much dessert, all that kind of thing. So yeah, keep a mindful eye on that. But obviously we're human as well, so we have to go and enjoy ourselves. We have to go and have a beer in the afternoon when you're on holiday, and there is room for that. But for me, it's all about doing it at the right time and making sure that when you do come back through the door on June the 26th, as it was for us, or wherever it would be for any other club, that you're ready to go and ready for the 6 weeks solid of pre-season to get yourself up to a level in which you then have to play 10 months of the championship season, where you're doing Saturday, Tuesdays probably for, I think we did about 10 times on the bounce last year between September and December. You've got to be ready for that. The recovery is important, but also making sure you're geared up for the new season is equally as important.
And how's the transition been with goalkeeping coaches? Moving from one to another for you.
It has its challenges. Trying to find out the way other people work and other coaches work, and him stamping his authority on our sessions and getting us into the habits that he would like to get us into in the positioning and like I mentioned before, the mental, tactical and physical side of the game. It takes time to move across into exactly what Iñaki wants. But it's something that I think we're all doing, and I think we're all grasping quite quickly. We're all good learners, and we all want to improve, and if we believe that he can improve us, which I think we all do, I certainly do, then there's no reason for me not to try and implement what he's saying into my game.
Because the goalkeeper's relationship with a goalkeeping coach, you have to have a good relationship with the manager and assistant manager, but it's such a specific position that your relationship has to be very spot on as well. I mean, you had that with Royce. Yeah,
the relationship I had with Royce was fantastic. He could be brutally honest with me if something wasn't right. He'd tell me something wasn't right, and if I'd done something well, he'd pat me on the back and tell me to move on to the next thing, which is the way I like it. I'm not one to dwell on mistakes, and I'm also not one to be too high when things are high as well. If you save a penalty, it doesn't make you the best goalkeeper in the world, for example. Or if you make a mistake, it also doesn't make you a bad goalkeeper. So I think there's a level of consistency that needs to be had in terms of relationship between a goalkeeper and his coach. I had that with Royce. I'm sure I'll develop that with Iñaki. He's got a great track record, and he's very demanding of his goalkeepers. We've found that out over the last 4 weeks, that's for sure. So I think going forward, I think it can only be healthy for myself, for sure, and I'm sure the other two are exactly the same, that as long as we're all on the same page, we're all going to be developing for the better.
You hit your personal target last season, I know that. You didn't tell us what it was until right at the end of the season. There will be personal targets, no doubt, this season for you. And that
don't ask me.
I'm not going to ask you, there's no point. I'll ask you in May whether you've made it. Because I wasted questions on that.
You did, yeah.
But as far as the group is concerned, the target always remains the same here. A very ambitious group, very ambitious football club, and as I said to Ryan Wills before, not from an arrogant point of view, but just from a belief point of view. You believe as a group that you can do what you want to do.
Yeah, well, you look around the dressing room, sit there on a match day and look around at the quality we've got, and it's not just the 11, that's the lads that are on the bench, and sometimes the lads that are even on the squad, inclusive of the injuries that we have. You've got Rico Henry that's been long-term injured, Alan Judge Pryor has been long-term injured, we've had Lewis McLeod on the treatment table. They're 3 players that would be knocking on the door of any championship team for me. And I think when you do look around the dressing room, you see the quality that we have, and you see some of the teams that I think are batting above their weight in the championship, and I think we can compete with absolutely anybody. And like I've said before, it's not all about budgets, it's not all about fan base. For me, it's down to how much the individual and the collective want to achieve things, and how much dedication and desire you have to go and do so.
Last season, we talked a lot at the beginning of the season about performance but no points. Obviously this year it would be nice to get off and underway as quickly as possible with the 3 points and get some momentum, because when we look back on it now, we can say if, buts and maybes. That spell right at the start maybe was the slight difference in points wise when you didn't get the points that your play deserved.
Yeah, I think also on the flip side of that exact point is, you look at those first, I think 9-10 games, whatever it was, we accumulated not enough points, which was well documented, and I think we as a group were the first to admit that and try and rectify that. However, if you look back at those points and then you look at the run we went on after those points, around Christmas time, after Christmas, I think we went 18 games or something unbeaten, I think it was. That on the flip side is the complete opposite. So if you look back on the season, it potentially evens itself out. I think if you look at the season in terms of consistency, yes, of course, we would have wanted to accumulate more points at the start, and that's well documented, like I said. But we can't look back in hindsight of those drop points or good performances but not wins, or losing points with last minute goals, or perhaps not being as clinical as we need to be, or perhaps not defending as well as we need to be, or not being quite as ruthless and managing the game like we should. But those are all things that are on a learning curve for all of us. And I think it can only help us for this season and set us in good stead for what's to come.
A couple of things on the World Cup. Technical point, top hand or bottom hand?
Depends on the flight of the ball. That's it. Depends on the flight of the ball. If the ball's high and it is, well, for top hand, if you look, it's easy. If you're there and you see there, that's a bottom hand save. If it's there, it's easy. And obviously there's a lot of armchair fans and non-experts of goalkeeping who will have opinions, but you know, it's all part of goalkeeping. We're going to get criticised no matter what we do.
So from a media point of view, should we have more pundits who are ex-goalkeepers?
Absolutely.
Fancy a job?
Well, yeah, give me 15, 20 years maybe, but I don't want to cut my career too short.
No. But I mean, it's a lack of understanding, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's a very, very specific position.
It is. I've full admiration and respect for those pundits who have played the game as a player. You know, no qualms about that at all. A lot of them are very, very successful individuals and have retired with everybody's respect. However, they're not goalkeepers, so I don't suppose they can, just like, you know, it would be easy for me to criticise somebody for missing an opportunity. Well, there may be a striker may say there's 15 reasons why he missed that opportunity, and the same is with goalkeeping. But goalkeeping's a little bit more specific and a little bit more in depth and detailed than what meets the eye.
England aside, when you're watching a penalty shootout, are you cheering for the keeper?
Of course, absolutely. Every time, I don't care who it is. I want saves. You know, I want 15-15 penalties. You know, I don't want it to be like, 3-3 and then 4th penalty goes in. I want loads of penalties. So, you know, everybody enjoys penalties, and I'm no different. I'm a bit of a fan when it comes to, you know, as long as we're not involved, just send it to penalties. That's fine, no problem at all. I just want to watch. But yeah, I'm always waiting for the keeper and always guessing what side it's going to go and all that kind of thing.
Can you tell which side of ball is? You can do your research on where players go.
Yeah. Can
you tell as an approach as they plant their foot, as they address the ball, possibly where it's going to go?
I'm not necessarily about approach. I'm more about, you'd have to say it's guessing, like an educated guess prior to the kick, prior to he's even put the ball down. I'll say which way he's going,
right.
And the run up doesn't necessarily change that. Unless there's a couple of little things that I look for, but I generally tell the way someone's going to go before they've even put the ball down.
And you alluded to it with Jordan Pickford, but there's been various other members of the England squad in particular who've had interesting footballing journeys. You know, Kieran Trippier, for example, he only got his first full cap at the age of 26.
Yeah.
Within a year, he's starring. He's being picked out as one of the star performers. Likewise, like Jordan. Is that really positive for the game in this country? That you know, there's a manager in charge, there's a system in charge to say that, you know, your football journey can be a meandering one, an interesting one, a challenging one that gets you to the top of the game.
Absolutely. I think if you look at Jamie Vardy as a prime example, you know, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago now that he was playing for Fleetwood in League Two, and now all of a sudden he's a Premier League winner. He's played at the World Cup. He's beating the most consecutive goals in consecutive games record. You know, that's what more can you want? I think it gives hope for everybody who's ready to dedicate themselves to the point where they desperately want to go and play for their country, and they're going to work as hard as they can to make that happen or get as close to it. For me personally, of course, you know, the ultimate aim and achievement is to play for my country. At a World Cup especially, at Euros obviously slightly secondary to that, but I think it's certainly something that can never be overlooked, is that everybody's got their own individual journeys, and not everybody comes through a top 4 Premier League team and just goes straight onto England and, you know, is a straight starter. You made reference to Kieran Trippier there, and obviously Jamie Vardy. Pickford as well has come through the EFL, and I think I saw It was well documented on Twitter that I think it's something like 18 of the squad had been represented for the EFL and played for various clubs, which is great. It's great advert for the EFL. It tells you how good the Championship is a division and what a good learning curve League 1 and 2 is as well. Because the Championship is a great level, which is slightly below obviously where the cream of the crop is.
And finally for me, there's 2 games tomorrow. Did you get a choice as to which game you played in? Could you campaign?
I didn't, but I'm happy with what I'm playing. I would have taken either. I love playing football, but I'm happy with what I'm playing, and it's going to be a good test.